am Lisamarie, and if it's your first time watching my channel, I am so excited that you're here. Tonight, I actually just got back from a Christmas party, and it is about midnight, but I wanted to get this video filmed for you. I had been waiting to film it because I actually wanted to go see the movie, and when I went to look up showtimes, because my friend and I were going to go this afternoon, it actually was not released in Denver. So if you have seen the movie for our November book club read that just came out on Friday, it's called Wild. It's by Cheryl Strayed, From Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail. I would love to know how it was. The critics had said that it was Reese Witherspoon's best performance of her career, so I was really looking forward to watching the movie after finishing up Wild. So yeah, that is the scoop on the movie, but let's just jump into the story. So my experience of reading Wild was, it was a little slower. It's not the type of book I would normally pick up. So I'm about the least outdoorsy girl. Even though I live in Denver, I do not hike, I do not ski, I don't camp, I don't do any of that stuff. So it's definitely a topic that wouldn't necessarily draw me in on the surface, but I love a good Odyssey homecoming story. So I love just the story of a journey of finding ourselves and finding our way back home or back to God or whatever we're searching for. I just love a good journey story. So that first drew me into this book. And then the beginning of the book starts with Cheryl telling us why she decided to go on the Pacific Crest Trail and some of the circumstances in her life leading up to taking this trip. And that was really well done. The book was well written. We definitely had a sense of who she was and who she wanted to be and kind of what led her to embark on this journey, and I loved that about the book. Cheryl's an incredible writer. On the whole, it didn't necessarily turn pages for me. It definitely took me a good month to read just because I would kind of pick it up and put it back down, but on the whole, I'm really glad that I read it, and definitely I've been expanding my horizons this year as far as what I read. So I loved it, and again, no, there won't be any spoilers in these videos, so if you haven't read Wild and you're thinking about it, or after watching this you want to read it, definitely I won't say anything that's going to detour you from reading it or kind of give anything away that may make you feel like there isn't much point to reading it. So definitely want to give you a sense of the book though. So overall, I would give this 3 stars, and I actually read through some of your reviews, and I just found this out. I'm not sure if you know, but if you go to the Paper Glam Book Club page and you click on the book that we're reading and you scroll down, it actually will show you what everyone thought about it and rated it who read it in the book club. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I definitely took advantage of that this month. So it looked like most of you who read it really kind of put it in the 3-star range, just like me. So yeah, we kind of had a similar experience from what I gathered. My favorite quote in the book was on page 51, and it was when Cheryl had just embarked on the Pacific Crest Trail, and she was kind of having one of those "can I do this" moments, and she says, I knew that if I allowed fear to overtake me, my journey was doomed. Fear, to a great extent, is born of a story we tell ourselves, so I chose to tell myself a different story from the one women are told. I decided I was safe, I was strong, I was brave, nothing could vanquish me. Insisting on this story was a form of mind control, but for the most part, it worked. Every time I heard a sound of unknown origin, or felt something horrible cohering in my mind, I pushed it away. I simply did not let myself become afraid. Fear begets fear, power begets power. I willed myself to beget power, and it wasn't long before I actually wasn't afraid. So Cheryl had every reason to be afraid, and I'm really fascinated by just the power of the mind, and my mom always said mind over matter, but I don't know, it's hard for me at least to kind of be able to program myself not to be afraid. So I loved that she wasn't, she was bold, and she didn't necessarily think, oh, I'm a single woman, I'm, 26 years old, I shouldn't be doing this by myself, which she probably shouldn't have, but, she went for it, and I love that quote. So The other part of the book that I absolutely loved, I guess I kind of have to skip ahead to the end a little bit, and that was when she finished the trail and she's sitting at the Bridge of the Gods and she talks about going to Powell's. So I thought that was so funny that that's what she would be thinking about at the end of this long trail. And just for background, she actually hiked from the Mojave Desert, which is very, very southern California, and she hiked all the way up to the Oregon-Washington border. So I think it was over 1,700 miles. So very, very far. And what she talked about was going to Powell's to sell her books. So I love Powell's. It's one of my favorite places in the world, or that I've been in one of my favorite cities, which is Portland. And if you want to see actually my last trip to Portland, I'll link it below just in case you're curious. I've got some pretty good shots of Portland, and I'm actually going back in January. I love to go to Powell's once a year, and it's a used bookstore. It's the largest independent bookstore in the world, so it's a whole city block of books. It's incredible. I love to just spend hours in between the rows and rows of books, and I actually got a lot of books from there that are in my library. A lot of them are really good condition used books, and so it's kind of an annual pilgrimage at this point. So I love that she brought up Powell's in her story. Let's see, what else? I think my other favorite part of this book was definitely as she was about to take her last day of hiking on, she was talking about how her feet still hurt, her body still hurt, how it was still hard, and even though she was stronger than she probably ever would be again in her life, and she was in the best shape of her life, every day was still hard. And I thought that was so true of life, no matter kind of how hard we work or how great shape we're in, it's still, every day is hard, whether it's physically hard or mentally hard or emotionally hard, spiritually hard, whatever it is, it's still kind of a fight. I, for the longest time, kind of waited till I woke up and was the pink Power Ranger, and really that doesn't happen. Things get they get mentally easier, but things are still hard. And I just love that Cheryl had kind of equated that truth about life to her journey on the Pacific Crest Trail. So yeah, that's kind of all I had for the book today. If you did love Wild and you want to read another one of Cheryl's books, she also wrote Tiny Beautiful Things, which is actually a compilation of all of her articles that she had published for I cannot remember the publication. I think it was called Rumpus, actually. So she was actually an advice columnist, I think, for 10 years, and her name was Dear Sugar. And so this book is literally just all her columns, and I love the title of one of them. I can already tell it's called Beauty and the Beast. So if you would like to read another one of Cheryl's books, I would love to read Tiny Beautiful Things. So if that's something you want to read too, just let me comment below and we can get that added to the schedule, because I think this would be a really fun one to read and really different, especially since, this is a woman who really lived, she lost her mother in the very beginning of the book, and, she really challenged herself to not let her story up to the point that she hiked the Pacific Crest Trail define her, and I think that that's beautiful, and I'd love to hear what else she has to say about life. So that's an idea. But for the immediate future, in December we are reading, I'm just reaching over and grabbing it, we are reading Unbroken. So Unbroken is a riveting story that I've actually wanted to read it came out in 2010, and I heard about it in 2011. A couple of my friends who are actually men loved this book, and they really cited it as changing their lives, and so I kind of have had it on my to-read list since then. It's just really, at the end of the day, from what I understand, a story of just how indomitable the human spirit is and how resilient we are as people. And this is a World War II story, I believe, and there's men whose plane crashed and they were in the ocean for at least a month and just kind of overcame the most tremendous of circumstances. So we are somewhat continuing on our Odyssey theme of just rising up in the face of life and just kind of conquering. So I'm really excited to read Unbroken in December. The movie does come out Christmas Day, so it should be a great Christmas day, and I already checked, it's a national release, so everyone should be able to go out and see this movie. so no one should be disappointed like I was today. And yeah, it's a pretty hefty one. So I've actually heard that even though it looks like it's, let's see, it's almost right about 400 pages, 398. So I've heard even though it can look a little bit intimidating, most of my friends actually read this in a couple days. So I don't think this will bog down our December by any means. So I think that I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Wild. I'm excited to hear your thoughts about Unbroken as you're reading. And if you are not in the Paper and Glam Book Club and you would like to be, there's a link below in the About section that just has the path to the Paper and Glam GoodReads book club group. So just join that and yeah, read along with us. You can see what we are reading in the next coming months, and there's a few great discussions going on, and chime in on what you think we should read in 2015. And just as a heads up, for those who are still with me, there is a giveaway for those who are members of the Paper and Glam Book Club. So we are just shy of 100 members. So for those of you who are reading along, thank you so much for supporting this book club and just being as thrilled about reading and this idea as I am. I just love that we are building a community of women who believe that a well-read woman is a dangerous woman, because that is definitely something that I live by. So I think that's it for now. I know some of you are waiting for the next Erin Condren video, and I actually have to fly out at 5 a.m. on Monday morning, but I'm going to get that up for you just as soon as I can. So thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time.